if we really want to take it to that level, because that's a perfect segue to what I want to talk about really next. You know what I'm saying? It's going on in Arkansas. And so Arkansas Supreme Court upholds rejection of abortion ballot measure. And this is what we talked about this already, yes, a portion of this already. The Arkansas Supreme Court upheld the state's rejection of signature petitions for an abortion rights ballot initiative on Thursday, keeping the proposal from going before voters in November. The ruling dashed the hopes of organizers who submitted the petitions of getting the constitutional amendment measure on the ballot in the predominantly Republican state, where many top leaders tout their opposition to abortion. Election officials said Arkansas, for limited government, the group behind the measure, did not properly submit documentation regarding the signatures gatherers it hired. I'm sorry. The group disputed that assertions and argued it should have been given more time to provide any additional documents needed. We find that the secretary correctly refused to count the signatures collected by the paid canvassers because the sponsor failed to file the paid canvassers training certification, the court said in a 4-3 ruling. And so basically what's going on down here is like they're going against the will of the people. They don't. This is a big fact, because Trump said that he'll be great for women's rights. He'll be the best person for women's rights and women's reproductive rights. You
have a right to stay in the kitchen.
He just said that though. Just here recently, he put that out there.
Means. He'd be like, you have the right to stay in the kitchen. You have the right to make me a sandwich.
And you
have a right to give me some guap when Jeopardy's on.
And what he basically has also said is that when he's like, hey, I took this situation away from people. It's like it was already a law of the land. Abortion, access to abortions were the law of the land. He said, I took it away from them and gave it back to the states, which everyone wanted. So then, therefore, okay, that means the states should be able to decide. Great. That means the people of the state should have an opportunity to vote on it. So if the state's not allowing that to happen, are people really deciding this, or has Donald Trump decided it and then put it into states' hands like Arkansas, who then they're afraid to even give it back to the people? Because you know why? Because it'll be voted down. It's voted down everywhere it's gone. Every state it's been in, it's been voted down, period. And they're really afraid to put it on this November's ballot, because what's going on in November? The presidential campaign, a lot of other really, really big campaigns. And they know they'll probably lose their shirt, as far as like they're probably their state senators and whoever else they got on there will probably flip the blue, at least for the next 4 to 6 years, 4 to 6 years.
Well, that just tells them, I mean, people have been saying it for years. Look, their policies aren't popular. You can have these government officials that can't have kids no more, can't get their dicks hard no more, come out and say, you know, we're going to ban abortion. But when you let the people vote on it, and every state they've had it up there where they voted for women's productive rights.
Every single one of them, man. Every single state.
Even Ohio.
Red, blue,
like, damn,
everywhere.
Ohio?
Man, Kansas, man. In Kansas, they did the same thing over there.
Because the men think about it, the women have to look at themselves, you have to look at your daughters, and the men have to look at their daughters too. They're like, you know, what happens if my daughter gets sexually assaulted by a migrant?
You know
what I'm saying?
It's bigger than that even.
But I'm just saying, a lot of people
are really riding the migrants today. You're
saying,
on the migrant train today, aren't you? But bigger than that even, it's taking. It's not just me looking at my daughter. It's me looking at my own personal right too. It's my right to be. It's a man's right as well. It may not be our. We can't make the actual judgment call, but we can put our input in. That's taking away a right from you. We forget that. We always say it's just women's rights, which it is ultimately their decision. It's always a woman's decision, yes or no. But some women will give you the opportunity to say, hey, do you want to have a child right now?
Yeah, 1%.
And a man can be like, a lot more percentage than that. People who actually, I won't say that actually care, because the one might have something particular that's going on with her. I'm just saying, overall, it's a man's right as well. There's women out there who will let you make the full decision.
Women over 38 having babies are crazy and toxic.
What?
Anyways.
One more time.
I said women over 38 having young babies, fresh babies, are toxic.
What are you talking about? What does that even mean, man? So what about a man who has a baby when he's 80 years old?
That's on him. Wrap it up, bro. Your pullout game should be strong by now.
So he's wrap it up, bro. Your pullout game should be strong. He's just wanting to have a baby, just like a woman.
I see a lot of women over 40, single mothers with 2-year-olds. I'm like, you're old enough to know better.
Know better to do what? Have a baby?
Have a baby with someone that's going to stay with you.
But I'm saying
it goes back to choice. I'm just saying they're having babies.
Jesus Christ, man!
I'm saying they're having babies because they know they need someone. They want to have to be able to take care of somebody for the rest of their life, and then they got a man they get to argue with for the next 20 years. So all the way until they retire,
this sounds like this. Hey, I'm not even the type. You know me better than this, but man, this is I can't agree with this at all. I think that you got to look at both parties.
Prove me wrong.
We have to look at both parties when it comes to that. But
how many single mothers are there over 40?
Jesus.
With kids under 5.
Look, but the bigger point of all this is it's also a man's it's also a man's right as well too. It's everyone's right. It's a woman's right. First and foremost, of course. So you are taking that away, but we got to look at that. We got to start painting this in a different light too, because we see that this is the same party that keeps on saying the Democrats want to take your rights away. They want to give you everything you have to migrants. They want to do this, they want to do that, but they're the only ones truly stepping forward, taking rights away from people, and then not giving you an opportunity to even vote on it.
Yeah. And one thing I want to add to a little tidbit, I want to add to that. In the 1900s, 124 years ago, the black population was 11.9. And today in 2024, the black population is 13%. So abortions work, because that's where they set them all up at. The Planned Parenthoods in the black communities.
But at the same time, though, so it went up. The population of black people went up.
It should go higher, bro. They're saying right in 2025.
You got to remember, I bet you if we went back and looked.
The prediction for the census in 2050, the black population is still going to be 13%. Asians going to be 9%, and Hispanics going to be 25% of the population.
You got to remember. When you talk about Asians, though, that's not even. You're talking about an entire. I guarantee they don't put Haitians.
Asians, and then there's Pacific Islanders. I need to separate them because they have to be separated.
But Asians make up probably damn near 30 to 40% of the entire world are Asians. Probably more than that. Probably almost 50%. No, I'm talking about the world. So that means that even out of the migrants who are coming here, a lot of them are going to be Asian. That's the reason why Mexicans or even Hispanics. Let me just say it that Hispanics, because we're right below. All the Hispanics are right below us. All the countries are right below us. They can migrate here. It's a lot easier. If Africa was below America, what do we think the population of blacks would be here? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're cutting out Haitians. They're not calling them black. They're calling them other. You're a Haitian. They're cutting out any Jamaican, whatever. They're taking them out, and they're not even calling them black. But they're going to say Asians, Caucasians. That's all together. They're not saying Italians, French, British, Germans. They're not doing that. So that's why our population grows differently.
The black population in America is 15. We're 15% of the USA.
But do you feel what I'm saying to you?
Undercounted by about 4 million.
But do you understand what I'm saying to you? That's why it grows at that pace. It's not anything else. But you got to imagine if I have this is a horrible word to say for it, but if I have if Africa was underneath America and it was that's a breeding ground. Basically, where you can just ship people up over the border consistently. There's no way you could ever beat that. No population, no ethnic group in this country could beat that. You know what I mean? Where every year you can have 10 million more people just migrate or go across the border if you want to, 5 million, whatever it is, and then they having kids. And there's no way. So that's why it looks like that. I think more than anything else. Yeah. And if you look at it, if we're saying that, look at the white population. It's declining. So does that mean that abortions are working for them too? Or does that mean just that other population is starting to grow?
They want to get rid of abortion, and then majority of them, they want to kind of, I hate to say it, but they want to rape their way back into population. Think about it. If you're going to
rape their way back into population.
I say it. Prove me wrong. Look at the statistics. When a European American gets caught for rape these days, they either deny it and he gets off, or if they give him time, he gets probation. Especially on the major heinous cases, it's like they get slaps on the wrist. Dante going to jail for 30 years for touching a butt.
Who?
There was a man. I'll look up the article in a minute. There was a man, bro. He was in a bar and he kissed a girl, and they kissed together and they locked him up. I can find that.
Now, I believe you, but let me just say this though. Yeah. I feel like I have a hard time saying that I just think that more than anything else that we've been here for a while. I think Americans get comfortable. I think that goes for every group of Americans. When you're no longer first, second, third generation, it changes you. Look at Vivek Ramaswamy, whatever. Look, I wonder how many kids he has. Now, I bet you if you go and look at I think he's from India or something. I think that his family was originated from India. I want to say something like that.
He got to play the role for what he's doing.
No. What I'm saying is, but he's affluent. So when you're more affluent, he's probably got 2-3 kids. He probably got 5, 6, 7 kids. But if you go back over and you look at what the numbers of people over in India, how many kids they probably average out to, or even you look at what's her name, Nikki Haley. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like her family's from India. I bet you more than anything else, she's not having a bunch of kids either because You know what I mean? I think it's more affluence than it is anything else.
Well,
I think Americans are more affluent.
I mean, they can afford the kids, but we can't afford them.
That's what I'm saying. Like more, as we become more educated, women become more independent. There's a lot less kids. I mean, you gotta look at it like this. My grandma had 14 kids. You know what I mean? That's like unheard of. You know anybody who had 14 kids? I don't know nobody. You know what I mean? That's not happening.
Old school stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. Like that's no longer happening anymore.
They was getting busy.
We talking about my grandparents.
You brought it up. 14 kids.
But all I'm saying is that kind of stuff's not happening as much anymore. Like there's not around people that we know. If you go out to the country somewhere,
like 8 kids. I'm just like, damn.
If you go out to like somewhere like out in the country somewhere, it might happen a little bit more, but it's not happening as much. You know, because people as you become more affluent, you're just not having as many kids. You're more educated. You're like, I want to go do stuff. I want to travel. I want to make some money. I want to buy a house. I want to do this.
You just don't want to think about the burden of having to raise children.
Say it again.
I saw a video the other day where the little kids was running around. The parents are like, put it down. And little kid looks at him, keeps going. He's like, get your foot out of that goddamn boat. You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, yeah, I don't want to do that no more. You see the mom with the kid with the squirt gun? She was like, stop. And she grabbed squirt gun from him and punted that shit across the field.
But to say all that, to say this, man, we need to have, every state needs to take up a vote on this. If you want to send it back to the states and that's what you really wanted to do, have a vote on it and see what the people say. I guarantee you're going to lose your shirt when it comes to, do it when you have your governor running. Do it when you have a senator running too on top of that.
Yeah,
if you feel so confident that this was the law of the land, this is perfect for you to want to do it then and see what happens.
I'm just saying, man, it's like, you got to look at the other side. Like if they're willing to take this away and just not let the people vote on it, like what else are they they're going to want to take away from you later?
Man, Project 2025 is a definite go. We've been talking about this for a while. We got to do a thing on this. This is a definite go. People don't understand that. It sounds conspiratorial, but it's already happening.
They're already doing it. Written.
The Supreme Court's already setting up things. You made a statement about how the Air Force didn't want to clean up the water.
Yeah.
And then they used the ruling that the Supreme Court brought forth from the Chevron ruling.
There's American citizens drinking this water.
And they don't care. You know what I'm saying? It was like 0.1% of the Air Force's budget to clean up this water for these people so they could drink this water. And they're like, nope, man, the Supreme Court already ruled that you can't even tell me that I got to clean this water up. You got to take that back to the courts. See you then. You know what I mean? Pretty much.
Speaking